What's up, man? How y'all doing? On today's episode, we got Brandon Bullins with us, man. That's QB1.
Yes, sir.
uh, oh man, we're gonna go back a little bit. We're gonna start, Brandon. If you can just tell us about yourself, man. How do you remember how you even got into football? Like how you developed your love for the game?
Wait, yeah. But first, I just want to say appreciate you guys having me on. It's really cool to be seeing what you guys are doing now. Love the podcast. I've been seeing all the clips and stuff on Instagram and TikTok stuff, so that's cool. How I got into football, man, it was really like I wanted to get into sports from a young age. I started playing like t-ball when I was really young, and then that turned into flag football. And the next thing I know, I'm out with the Kernersville Raiders playing tackle with Jordan and Jarrell, and by high school it was Chris. So it was from a young age I started kind of getting into it. Played both sides of the ball. Obviously, as I got into high school, was turned just more into the offensive side, quarterback specifically. But yeah, just kind of fell in love with it from a young age.
You talk about T-ball. That's interesting because I never knew Brandon played anything but quarterback. Since knowing Brandon, Brandon's always
There's a reason I
just
stuck
a
with it. I
quarterback.
was not good.
Brandon was just a quarterback, man. If you talk about the Raiders, man, the first time we played together, or yeah, the first time we played together was Pee Wee. I think that was how we were like 9, 10, maybe 11. I don't even remember.
Young,
Young, yeah, but
really
that was
young.
the first time we played together, and of course, we have always like we had been on separate teams. We had always played quarterback. Both of us, each of us, at our respective teams, and so this was the first time we're on the same team, and then it's like, okay, who's gonna be the quarterback?
Yeah, exactly.
And and Brandon ends up being a quarterback. I got moved to running back. This is my first time ever playing a position that wasn't quarterback. I mean, little did we know. What was our coach's name at the time? I forgot his name.
Like way back when.
Yeah, I can't even
I know
remember
I
his
know
name.
AJ's dad was a coach at one year.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was the same year though that we're talking
man,
about.
I forget his
Griffin
name, but
Holly's dad was a coach for one year too. I'm not sure.
he always had a good team. Like he stayed at that level. Always had it. But he was on to something because he moved me to running back. Like I never. Little did we know as we got into high school, I wouldn't be playing quarterback anymore. But at the time, it was very interesting to me, or like it was my first time, so I learned a lot about myself in that first time. But then, like for you, what was it like? Not only I don't know if you would say that we were competing for a quarterback spot at that age, but also like you broke your arm that year too, and then that's when
hmm
this whole AJ turning into a quarterback thing happened. Like
hmm
it was an interesting year that year. So like, what would you speak on? How would you speak about that year and like what that did for you?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously a lot of adversity that year, and I think I just remember. I think it was Coach Smallwood, Maurice Smallwood was the coach that year. So if I remember correctly, that's him. Because as soon as you said broke my arm, I was like, okay, that's that year, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, just from the adversity standpoint, obviously, I mean, you remember how bad my arm was. Like it was just
Yeah,
mangled. It was ugly. It was ugly. So for me to have that process of like, trying to really learn about the, I guess, early stages of the human body, the growth process, the recovery process, having to be in the forearm cast for 6 weeks or however long it was, and it's the half cast. Like it just, I don't know, it teaches a lot of patience. And obviously, you guys are still in season because that was very early on in that season. So see you guys compete still. I believe Josh Mahaffey was even on that team.
hmm
Um, so to see you guys to be out there and competing, it kind of let me know that I was kind of part of the team still, just even though I wasn't playing. But yeah, man, it was tough because I wanted to be on the field with you guys, wanted to compete. And I feel like that kind of gave me that competitive edge or just like a competitive nature. Even with a broken arm, it's like, dude, I still wanted to be out there competing. I just couldn't,
Yeah,
I try to carry that ship, kind of as I got older. And obviously, as we know, like in high school and college.
yeah. I mean, talk about that chip. I think that put a chip on both of our shoulders at a young age, and I think we needed it, especially at the high school that we went to. I don't think we realized that at that age, and that like the high school that we went to, like what development it would do for us as we would go into as we would just go and continue to play. But so like, what would you say like playing for being at East Forsyth and playing for Coach Willard? we'll talk about being at East Forsyth and that level of competition day in and day out first. Like, what would you say that did for your development? And would you say that like would you say it's any different than other high schools, or like how would you say East is different from other high schools?
Yeah, so I mean, East is a very competitive school as is. During the time we were one of the smaller 4A schools in North Carolina. So for us, I feel like we kind of everybody kind of had to carry that chip on our shoulders as we got into playoffs because we're playing Mallard Creek, for example, who
And we
has
in Charlotte,
upwards of
yeah.
3,000 kids. Yeah, and
Yeah, we're
we're
in
over here
Charlotte.
rocking with 1,800, 1,900, and we're the smallest 4A school in the entire playoffs. But Coach Willard did a great job, especially from a practice plan standpoint. I've heard a lot of coaches give him a lot of praise from the collegiate level, saying like that is the closest to a college level practice you will see in high school. Is at East. So, you know, once again, I feel like just he prepared a lot of not even just me, but just a lot of guys that went and go play in college. We've been used to it for 4 years at that point. By the time we're rolling into for me Methodist or Christian at Wake Forest, whatever it was, like we've already been doing it for 4 years. So
Yeah. Would you say like okay, now we can talk about Coach Willard. The like we know okay, they players have said nowadays Willard has calmed down and chilled out a little bit. But we know back in our day Willard Willard could be something.
he got rough.
Yeah, yeah. How would you say that helped you when it came to playing for other coaches and even like being on yourself as you continue throughout your career?
Yeah, well, I think with Willard and my dad, like those were kind of the two main pieces of like wanting, they're pushing me to be the best version of myself. You know what I mean? And they had kind of different ways of doing it. My dad's like, kind of being my true dad. He's like, hey, this is what you need to do. Well, it's like, cussing me out on the side or whatever it was. But no, but at the end of the day, like both of them, it kind of molded me, right? Like, 'cause it takes a
Hmm.
community to really grow a person, especially an athlete. With those two guys, they really did a phenomenal job, just once again in different ways. And so by the time like I got into a situation where coach is like in college, where he is on my ass, or excuse me, on I don't know if I can curse on here,
Nah,
but
yeah, you good. You good,
okay,
man.
okay. Uh, but if he is on me, it's like, dude, Coach Willis has been doing this to me since I was 14. I mean,
Yeah,
once again,
yeah,
used to it. By the time we get there, we've already been through it for 4 years.
yeah. You were 14 as a freshman. I came into high school at 13. I was always a year younger than everybody. What would you say though that first year of us really like? I would say our freshman year of high school. Granted, it was JV. Like we, what would you say though that first year of really? Because I felt like day in and day out, me and you, like yes, we had a quarterback room of about five, six quarterbacks. But yeah, we had Kelvin, but we knew it came down to me and you who was going to practice better and who was going to play better. That was who was going to be the quarterback. So like, how would you speak to that competition at that age, and like, what would you say it did for you?
Yeah, I mean, once again, going back to even before that, like Pop Warner, like we were talking about, we were competing then, like you said, we might not have been truly competing for who's going to be the starting quarterback, because it's Pop Warner. You're playing both sides anyway.
Yeah,
It is what it is. But once you get into high school and you kind of specialize at one position, that's the first time you really do have to kind of focus on competing at a high level. And you might not understand what competing is yet. For like we were 14, 13 years old, trying to understand what competing was. Kelvin or whoever else was in there. I think Josh Corman was there too. Like they've been there for 2 or 3 years already. By the time we're rolling in, we're trying to
yeah,
compete with somebody 2 years older than us, and it's like,
yeah,
well, how's that going to work out? How's that going to look? But you make adjustments. You learn as experience is the best teacher. So you just kind of have to dive headfirst into it, learn as best as you can.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, experience is the best teacher. I'm starting to notice as I've gotten out of high school that high school football is not created equal everywhere. And while I just say that we we didn't realize it at the time because Willard was such a hard ass on us. Like, but it was a blessing to have a coaching staff to not just have as many coaches as we did because you could get that one on one development. Like you could do that. But it's also like the environment. Like we went to a real football high school. Like that's not something that you don't realize when you're in it. Like this is really what it is. But I just think that did a lot for us. And like I ended up getting hurt, not being able to go play in college. But to see, I think it speaks to not only what, like you're talking about Christian, but you start looking at like Amani now. You look at, it's a long list of players that even since 2014 we entered high school that have gone to college and big colleges and have been successful. Um, but coming out of high school, you went to Fairmont State. Was What was that experience like for you? Do you talk about that? Like, what was that, and how you ended up getting into going from there to Methodist?
Yeah, so coming out of high school, I was starting to get a little buzz, not much in terms of like recruitment. I'll be honest, like I think I was a little bit under recruited. I didn't have a plethora of schools, beat down the door to come talk to me or anything. So I ended up
Which
with
I'm sorry, I don't
one.
mean to cut you off, but I think that's very interesting, especially being a quarterback at the high school that we went to. I mean, granted, we never really had big name quarterbacks, but it's like when you start looking at the numbers that are put that we're putting up year in and year out, it's like why not? Why not?
It's definitely tough too for, obviously every kid has aspirations to go big time D1, Florida, Bama, whatever it is,
Yeah,
right? But, by the time the time that we both started getting on the field together, on varsity at least, I don't know if you remember, but I didn't even start our junior year going into that season. It was Kelvin. So by that,
Kelvin. Yeah, no,
so
yeah,
by
because
that time,
trust me, I remember who threw me that post
hey,
that
hey, guilty, guilty
nah,
as
yeah,
charged.
yeah, but that was Mount Tabor though. That, you know what's
It's Tabor.
crazy? That we played two quarterbacks in that game, because I remember early in the first quarter maybe I was running a comeback. I ran a comeback, and Kelvin, it was Kelvin. He tucked it and ended up running. Like, but yeah. Okay, so I didn't even think about that. Like, honestly, going back to it, I did not think about the fact that you did not start junior year. Um, yeah, but yeah, my bad. Go ahead, continue
Yeah,
speaking.
yeah. So I mean, going back to that, like every kid has aspirations to go to the big time D1, but by the time you're halfway through your junior year and you're just now getting like a shot to go play on the field, it's too late. For those really big D1 schools, they're already on the recruiting class after you, or even the one after them. So that's in my recruiting process. It's like, okay, I understand I'm not going to go play SEC or ACC. Like I get it, right? I still go play really good football, right? So I was thinking, okay, maybe some FCS schools are going to come start talking, maybe one to two. I had the one offered Morehead State, but they were in a non-scholarship conference. So it's like
Yeah,
it's basically I call it what it is. It's glorified Division 3 at that point. I mean, you're playing non-scholarship football at a Division 1 level. So but I did get a lot of Division 2 interest and offers. Same thing for Division 3. So whenever it came down to numbers and where I wanted to go to school, from a program standpoint, which one was going to develop me, all that kind of stuff. So I ended up choosing Fairmont State. It was a great school. I spent one year there, redshirted, learned a lot under Coach Woodman. He's now, funny enough, he's actually the head coach at Morehead State now. So, kind of small world situation there. But yeah, learned a lot, especially from the players there. Kind of learned, once again, like we were talking about in high school, you learn how to compete when you're 14. Well, once you get to college, it's a whole nother level. How do I compete with guys that are literally 20, 23, 24 years old, have kids, wives? Like, these guys are grown men, and I'm over here just rolling in at 17 years old, trying to compete against them for a starting spot. So all that kind of stuff, man. It was good. But yeah, after one year there, transferred out, landed at Methodist. Methodist was one of those schools that recruited me out of high school. It was the same recruiting coordinator there. His name is Coach Gordon, who's now a high school head coach. Anyway, as soon as I put my name in the portal, he had actually just stopped by East to go talk to Coach Willard. I called Willard that same night that I put my name in the transfer portal. And he said, yeah, man, like Bullins is in the transfer portal, hit him up. And next thing I know, I'm taking a visit. 2 months later, I'm committed. And 3 months later, I'm rolling into fall camp. So,
man. And then next thing we know, we see Brandon Bullen setting all kinds of school records, man. What was your time at Methodist like? Like, just like, can you speak on your time at Methodist? Like,
yeah. So Methodist was definitely the right spot for me. It's tough to know 100% going into any school, like, if this is going to be the perfect spot for me, I think at the end of the day, Methodist was the perfect spot, especially like really early on in my career. Methodist, I'll call it what it was, wasn't a very good program, didn't win a lot of games, for the few years beforehand. And so, but there was a lot of talent there. Like we just had talent. The coaches were starting to get on track. So by the time we're 19, we went 4-6. Obviously COVID hit, so we played that spring season. We went 4-1 and we're in the conference championship game. We're losing the conference championship game, but like we're in it. Like we're here now. So in just 2 seasons, we had really turned it around from I believe the year before I got there was 2-8, 2-7. Then we're okay 4-6. We're getting better, and then now we're competing in the conference championship game. Same thing for that 2021 fall season. We went 7-2 that year. Once again, lost in the conference championship game. But it's like we're right there on the cusp. So for us to be able to kind of turn that program around, not just me, but the help of all my guys, Xavier McNeil, Kobe Pralo, Connor, Jack and Wiggs, all those guys, Keyshawn. I mean, just all these guys that really competed at a high level on top of the coaches. We're all on the same page, and I think that's what kind of helped us, get to a high level of competing and being able to win a lot of those games.
Would you say that the competition and like that? I feel like we had to. East was the first time I really understood that practice isn't enough. Like, if you just show up to practice, you will be sitting on the bench because there are people out here that are as talented as you. So, do you think that and that time at East allowed you to? I don't like. You were the leader of the team. Like you talk about, it's not just you, but essentially you're the quarterback. You have to lead the guys in the right direction. Like, would you say that leadership helped you in this situation and getting these guys to where essentially y'all needed to be?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think at East, there was East is so diverse, man. So it's hard to get like really everybody behind like one voice, one leader. Everybody kind of had their own little like not clique, but they had their own guy that they kind of want to look up to on their side of the ball, right? Like defense probably going to be the Mike linebacker, right? Or D line's going to look up to guys like Cookie or Boo, whoever it was. Um, but being able to just be a voice on a team like East, especially like you said, being a quarterback, you got to have at least some kind of voice, be some type of presence, and especially like offensively, right? If you can't control your side of the ball, it's a problem. But I think taking what I learned from East from a leadership standpoint, from what Willard was instilling in us, same thing from Fairmont, Coach Woodman, and then going to Methodist. I've already had two, call it what is, college like or college itself, programs that I've been through. By the time I got to Methodist, once again, it's like, okay, I've already been here, done this. All I got to do is go out and apply it.
Yeah, and I think something you said, you were talking about changing around the program at Methodist. I think winning is a habit. You learn how to win. Not everyone is a winner. Like, if that makes sense. Like at East, we had very much championship or bust. Like we don't care about conference championships. We don't care about first, second, third round playoffs. We're here for state championships. Granted, we were never able to accomplish that goal, but they went back to back the year after us. And so, like, what did you see in when you got to Methodist? Like, I'm not going to necessarily compare it to East Forsyth because it's high school and college, but like, what would you say that you saw in that program and you got there and you were like, okay, we need to kind of pick some things up around here? Or like, what would you say it was?
Dude, I'm glad you asked that because I was thinking about this the other day. My very first day at Methodist, right? So, everybody reports for fall camp at a certain point. The night before, Coach Cable, the head coach, he has a meeting with all the players and parents. Parents, then we'll separate, they go home. Players, we get sent to our dorm rooms. But that next morning after, we're 6 a.m. in the locker room, 7 a.m., whatever it was. I rolled in 45 minutes early before the workout.
You were the only one in there. Don't say that,
only
Brandon.
One.
Don't say that, Brandon.
The only one.
Don't
I kid you not.
that.
I don't even think the janitor. I think the janitor might have been the only other person in the entire building. And we had our own football complex, like at Method, which is crazy at a Division III school. But for me to be the only one there, 45 minutes early, I'm like, dude, like, I'm sitting down in my locker. I'm like, where's everybody at? Because same thing at Fairmont at East. Everybody's there at least 30 minutes before.
But they don't really understand. People, I will never forget when we first started. I first started going to East. People looked at me after like a year and said, "What are they feeding you over there?" I'm like,
yeah,
wait, 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning. Like
weight
we
room.
were one of the few high schools, 7 o'clock in the morning. We're in the weight room. We're in the weight room. And we didn't what I've also noticed is, and I want you to speak to it from a college standpoint, is I feel like we didn't have much of an off season in high school. Like we would lose in December, back in the weight room in January. Like you had through winter break, you're back in the weight room in January. Like so what like would you say it was similar to college?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like I said, I mean, Coach Willett runs a college-like program. That's what it is. Guys that are getting back in the weight room from a high school standpoint in March or April, I mean, you're too late. You know, we're going against teams in the playoffs that have been lifting since last January. They got an extra 2 to 3 months of lifting, conditioning, spring ball, whatever it is, going out in the field, hitting, whatever it is, ladders or hills, whatever it is, building that team camaraderie. You're 2 months behind the game. You do that over 4 years, you're almost, you're 8 months behind.
We talk about stacking days, and I think even stacking days, I think goes down to stacking minutes. Just because, like you look at we're in the weight room 7 o'clock. Okay, we got a 45-minute lift, 45-minute hour, maybe hour and a half lift. Okay, if you're working out with somebody, all right. After school, then we don't have to lift. We just run. We're just getting conditioning in, some footwork. Okay, and then after that, okay, the sun's still out. Okay, we can go get on the field, run some routes. We can do extra, but if you don't get in that workout at 7 o'clock in the morning, there's no time for. And then you start stacking those days and that time, and you're behind the eight ball.
Yeah. So just to clarify that anymore, so we're saying like, hey, 7 a.m. you got weights. If you don't go to that 7 a.m. weights, that's okay. That's okay. You
Okay,
have your
yeah.
yeah, you have your afternoon lift, but like we're saying, you have your afternoon lift. You still have to run afterwards. Like you said, by then it's 7 p.m. Like it's too dark to go out. They're not going to turn on the field lights for you. But if you go to 7 a.m. lift, you got conditioned right after school. Oh, you're still going to have an hour of daylight, at the end of the day to then go hit the field.
But like you're saying, that's in our own program. Like that is in our own program, and you really started to see what really separated players as you started getting into first is the first thing is that freshman year summer workout. Freshman year summer workout, they start dropping like flies, and then
Hmm.
you start getting into that next off season, and then you start. And if they don't quit, you start seeing the I don't even want to say a talent. It's a skill gap because you have at this point you've been working on it, and so uh, that's just interesting. I thought that was very interesting to hear that you said even at college, like you were the first I understand you being the first one in there, but the only one, like, and you're just in there chilling, like,
Only one dude for like a good another 15 minutes after that. Maybe had 1 to 2 guys come in, like seniors, guys that kind of got it, um, you know, 30 minutes, 20 minutes before. But then, here come, as freshmen, or, you're showing up 3 minutes before and thinking you're fine. It's like, no, dude, like we've been here for 40 minutes already. You should have been here.
yeah.
Um, yeah, one of those things, man. I just had to get some more buy-in from all those guys. Once they started to see it and kind of see the process, I think they got it. And that's what kind of helped us turn it.
You talk about buy-in and how did you get those guys to change that because that's a mentality shift. Like you and Willard talks about like the cancers on the team. It's like if you don't want to get up and do it, you can leave. But it's like how did you get the guys that wanted to be there to buy in and play for you?
Yeah, so on college, those guys are there to win at the end of the day. They want to be
Yeah.
there. So you have to find like the key guys, and you call it what it is, right? Like those guys that are going to be able to go and connect with somebody that you might not be able to connect with. For me, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'll call it what it is, dude. I'm a privileged white kid from a small town in North Carolina, right? How am I going to connect with the ghetto kid from Florida? Like, if
No,
I
that's real.
can't, it's hard for me to connect with him. But I can get the guy that's kind of in between. That we have a mutual friend, and he can get him on board. So I have to get that guy on board. So it's like, and it's not even just like, oh, I'm like picking and choosing who. No, it's not like that at all. I'm trying to get everybody on board. I'm just kind of delegating, or trying to get this guy to buy in, so he can get his friend bought in or his guy bought in. Now everybody's on the same page. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you talk about it back in high school, and I think that's something like you said that we learned in high school because East was okay. We're at a school 75, 80, 85% white, 10% black, and the rest Hispanic, other like. But when you walked in that locker room, oh, that football team is completely different from what the school represents.
Completely different.
and so
Completely different.
and so I think it speaks to what you were saying. You learned, like you were able to learn that you might not be able to make that connection, but you are able to connect with someone who can. And so like I think that's big, man. I still can't get over the fact that even when you got to college, but I guess like we saying, like winning is a mentality. It's a habit. Um, and so like did you have to, I guess, is this something that you brought to the coaches, or like was it like how did you, I don't like, I'm guessing, like how did you go about it? Or like did you like sit the guys down, like call a team meeting or something?
Yeah, so I mean, if I remember what I did correctly, I think from there, like I literally pulled my office coordinator to the side. I'm like, hey, like, is this the thing? Like, guys do around here that show up just a few minutes. He's like, yeah, man, it's a problem. I've been trying to get guys on board for. I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one that sees it and recognizes. He's like, no, man, like if you do what you do, like try to get these
Yeah.
guys bought in. And so once I kind of got the thumbs up from the coaches, like it's like, all right, it's
hmm
game on.
hmm Yeah. I mean, and your sorry Bears then drafted Colston Loveland
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
and
Aren't you a Redskins fan? Or sorry, Commanders?
yeah, yeah,
See,
yeah.
that's the problem. That's the problem right there. How are we going to lose on a Hail Mary? Okay. You guys kicked field goals the entire game, couldn't score. Last
Hey.
play of the game, gonna chuck it. There was holding on the play, by the way. I do want to point that out. And then throw the flag. Ref staring it down, did not throw the flag.
Hey, it's okay. I tell everybody. I just I tell everybody, even if I don't care if you're a Ravens fan. Only team I won't say it to is the Chiefs. Our quarterback is just better, and it's okay. Like, and that's okay.
That's funny.
Man. Oh, but yeah, no, I thought it was interesting that y'all drafted Colston Loveland. Do you think watching? I thought okay. The reason why I thought it was interesting is because they said they wanted a pass catching tight end, but you go get a tight end from a school that runs the piss out the ball. Like
Dude, we'll see how it pans out. And if everybody is wrong, then everybody's wrong about them. Like it is what
everybody
it
else.
is. Yeah, then like great, you proved us wrong. But we didn't need I didn't see us needing another tight end. Now, granted, I understand Ben Johnson, he's the head coach of the Bears now. Comes from the offensive coordinator of Detroit. They run a lot of two tight end packages. So, 21 personnel, or sorry, 12 personnel, one back, two tight ends, all that kind of stuff. You can get funky
Mhm.
in formation wise, all that kind of stuff. Blocking scheme can get really good. If that's what they're going for, great, love it. Because, like you said, he's more of a blocking guy anyway. Cool. Um, but if you're not going to do that, we could have used the first round pick on any other
An
position that
offensive
we needed.
lineman.
Offensive lineman, we could have gone running back. I was hoping Genty was going to fall to number 10. Obviously, that didn't happen. But, we could have gone, offensive line, running back. Probably could have used another receiver. We got a receiver in the second round, so that's fine. Defensively, we packed up the D line a little bit. Think we could have used some more help on the linebacker or DB side. But, you know,
And
I
I
don't know, man.
think even like you were saying, like getting funky with the formation and stuff. Tyler Warren was out there snapping the ball and catching touchdowns. Like Tyler Warren, I understand he might not be the most polished route runner, but neither is Travis Hunter. And you see what they do. Travis Hunter, Jacksonville has him working strictly on offense right now. Like, cause they want
Yeah, I
to
haven't seen him on any
no
defense.
corner, no corner, because the kid can roll out of bed and guard anybody. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I think that's interesting. That was just interesting. It's just
Who
crazy.
did you guys get first round?
I'm trying to. First round, we ended up going. Did we go offensive lineman or corner? I want to say we went offensive lineman first round. Hold on, let me see.
While you pull that up, is this like a live stream? Like, is there anybody just like,
Nah, it's not live right now.
okay, so it's just like a
I
recording of
usually
it?
I do usually some I'm trying to get our shows to be live, but right now it's just recorded. Yeah, we went offensive tackle, and then we went Trey Amos kid from Ole Miss, but I'm an Alabama fan, so I remember when he played for Alabama, he wasn't. I think we did a pretty good job in this draft. I think most teams drafted well, like because I think this draft was so deep. I think a lot of teams were able to get needs, and no teams really. Some teams did, but I don't think teams really reach for anything or any players.
Yeah, I get that. I think the quarterback class this year was a little weaker than what we're used to.
Hmm.
Um, which is not, either here nor there. It's just kind of what it is. But what are your thoughts on Shador falling to the fifth round?
I was about to ask you the same thing. At this point, I think it. I think it was. It was for. I feel like it was for TV ratings at this point. Like, and I could be wrong. Like, they could have evaluated, watched the film between the meetings, and just said, "Nah, we don't want him." But it's hard for me to. I'm not gonna say I watched every minute of every game, but watching Shador Sanders play, yes, I think there were times you got frustrated with how long he held the ball. Talk, but that offensive line, you just can't ignore what that offensive line was. But you turn on the film and you just watch him play, and I don't think he's a fifth. I don't know how you watch that and say he's a fifth round talent when fucking Bo Nix was a first round. And I'm like, did we watch him play at Auburn?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I seriously think the same thing. A lot of organizations in the league will draft like quarterback first round when it's like a super weak class. I'm like, dude, you're not going to get a better quarterback than what you have now by drafting a guy first round. Like, you could, if you want to draft like fourth, fifth round, because that's what the talent is for a quarterback, sure, like go for it. But like you're saying, if you're going to draft a big question mark first round, it's like, dude, you could get a solidified exclamation point on a different position group, and but you're taking a question mark at quarterback. I don't know. It's just I don't. It's tough, man. Once again, we're not in the room seeing it, hearing what they're
yeah,
hearing,
yeah.
seeing what they're seeing. So
But
we're
I
just two
also
guys on the
look at it
podcast
like,
talking.
yeah, really, 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 like, but like I look at it like, if you were the Browns doing what you were gonna do, why trade the second pick? I want Shador and Travis. I want Shador and Travis. Like, I
And like for the Browns too, you just drafted Dylan Gabriel. Are you just gonna
yeah,
have open competition for what Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Dor, and who DRT or DTR still there too? It's like we got four guys that can legitimately have a shot to play this season. And unless they're just going to literally have an open competition battle, I don't understand the point of drafting
yeah,
two rookies.
two rookies, yeah.
I don't get it. Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't
I,
surprise me if one of them's bounced by next year, or like, on a different
yeah.
team.
Oh, that scouting department. Like, what is up with the Browns scouting department? Like, what? I don't, I don't, I don't know. That would, but it's just why? Like, I don't. I just have so many questions. Like you said, we're not. But my biggest question though is how do these people even get in these positions? Like, how do you get into the position that you making these decisions? And like, I don't know all the football in the world. I'm not going to claim that I do. I still have a lot of football to learn. But I also will say that I know football at a pretty high level. Jackson Dart's footwork is freaking terrible. When you're a quarterback, that was Willis' problem with me. Feet, feet, son,
Always,
feet, son,
always. Him and Horton always harping on the feet.
feet. And it's like if Shador had, as far as mechanics, footwork, I just anything that you look for in a quarterback, Shador Sanders has it, I think. And so I just don't understand how the Giants go take somebody like Jackson Dart, and then you got Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart, and you got Tommy DeVito.
Dude, that's a quarterback room right there, man. That's a quarterback room.
But I think but people are talking about Shador going there. I'm also kind of glad Shador. Do you think? Okay. Do you do you think it is more beneficial for quarterbacks to sit when they enter the NFL?
See, that's tough, man. That's so tough because like going back to what I was saying earlier, experience is the best teacher. So
Yeah.
I feel like from a if you could not fail, like if you knew you were going to be in the league for 15 years plus and you were going to be a starter for all 15 years, jump right in, torch by forged by fire, right? Like you're going to learn sooner than later where to throw the ball, where not to throw the ball based off coverages, schemes,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. You're going to learn.
Yeah.
But from a developmental standpoint, and like, hey, this is the blanking NFL. Like tomorrow is not guaranteed for you. To hell, today might not be guaranteed for you. If you have a bad practice first day, you might be cut right there. Um, from that standpoint, I think it is more beneficial to like kind of sit back, learn, watch a guy, a veteran particularly, who's done it, who's already been through it. That way he can kind of show you the ropes, teach you what he's learned, and that way you can kind of follow his, not necessarily follow his exact path or his footsteps, but he's shown you a route to get it done. So I
Mm.
think if you, from the NFL standpoint, tomorrow's not guaranteed. It's better to sit and kind of learn if you are in a position to do so.
Well, okay, but then I look at a situation like Jordan Love. Jordan Love isn't bad. By no means is he a bad quarterback. But I also feel like the Packers feel like they're stuck with him just because of what they've done and the way they've treated him since the way they went about the whole thing. And I don't think Jordan Love has necessarily been. He's gotten to some big games, but Jordan Love hasn't won big games. And Jordan Love turns the ball over. And I just think that goes back to what you were saying when it's like you need the reps. You need in-game reps. He's a gunslinger. He is a gunslinger. But just he's 6, 7 years into the league now, and you're just seeing those bad turnovers. Like still, so I don't know. I just think it goes to what you're saying. Like, what do you do? Because what do you do?
Well, I think it depends on what exactly the Packers are looking for. And like, granted, like every year, every team's like, yeah, we're gonna, we have a shot at the bowl this year. It's like, okay, let's
Yeah,
be
but yeah,
realistic. Let's be realistic. The Packers, year in and year out, have a chance to go win the Super Bowl. I don't see it that way. Probably Packers fans do because they're delusional anyway. I'm coming from a Bears fan. Um, but no, like if we're going back to Jordan Love, like if he's continuing to have these, you know, costly turnovers in big games, it's tough, man, because it's like, well, he's getting us to the point where we're 80% there before we reach the bowl. Are we going to be able to find a guy that's better than him that can
mm,
plug and play today that can get us to the bowl? There's not really many guys because at this point you're already talking about 32 guys, the best of the
yeah,
best, right? The
yeah,
best of the best in the entire freaking world that can go play at that level, right? Jordan Love's probably arguably the top half of that.
yeah, yeah,
So you're thinking like, look,
yeah,
dude, we got 15 guys.
yeah, yeah,
And what are the odds that we can get any of
yeah.
them here today? Like, it's one of those things like
Well,
you
I
can't.
think you let one walk out the door, but that's my opinion.
Well, that's the thing. Like if you let them walk out the door, what's our alternative? How are we going to
No,
replace
I'm saying I
what
think
we just lost?
when they let Aaron Rodgers walk out the door. I understand it was getting kind of bad. It was very toxic over there. Now what they
Yeah,
had
yeah.
going on was very toxic, but hell, yeah. You went and drafted Jordan Love. Next year he went and won an MVP. He wasn't Aaron Rodgers. There's no drop off in his game. I think it's going to be. What do you think he's going to do though? Like this year?
I don't know, man. I've heard so much stuff floating around. I heard he's going to retire. I heard the thing about Pittsburgh where he was going to go there. Obviously, that didn't happen. Dude, I don't know. I wouldn't surprise. It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't sign at all this year.
But what if, like, I just think that goes back, like, all of this is tied together, like Shador, Aaron Rodgers. Like, I 100% believe the Steelers didn't draft a quarterback because they were waiting on Aaron Rodgers and they didn't want to ruffle any feathers with Aaron Rodgers if they went and got a Shador Sanders or somebody that I'm not going to say is prepared to play now, but also somebody that is going to create a lot of noise behind you. Like if you're not playing well, the fan base is going to call for them. And so now if you're the Steelers, what do you do? You just traded George Pickens and your quarterback is Mason Rudolph?
QB1, Mason Rudolph, man. Let's ride. Let's ride, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough because it's like, is Mason Rudolph? Let's go back to the same kind of principle, right? Like, could we get, if I'm the Steelers, could we get a better quarterback today than Mason Rudolph? Honestly, probably, right? But also, you got to think it's Tomlin's system where we're not going to have a losing season ever as long as I'm here. So as long as we are competitive in our conference or our division, excuse me, and we make the 6, 7 seed as a playoff team, what's the difference between Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett? We're doing them. We're getting the same result no matter who's at
Getting the same
quarterback.
result.
Yeah.
But yeah, but my problem is though the Steelers let Justin Fields walk, and I think Justin Fields. First of all, y'all were some dumbasses for letting him go.
I'm glad
But
you brought
that's
this up. I'm glad you brought this up.
y'all were dumb for letting him go because now y'all are back in the same situation just with a different quarterback. Like, and y'all don't do anything to where like y'all don't go get a coach and then draft the quarterback. No, y'all get a quarterback, then a coach, and then it's just a continuous cycle.
It's a continuous cycle. It's bad.
Go ahead, no, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. I was literally talking to my boss yesterday about this. Okay, he's a Dolphins fan, so we like to talk shit a little bit. Okay, so
Mm.
but there's a report that came out from Caleb Williams. I don't know if you saw it a couple days ago. He was saying, I don't want to get drafted by the Bears. I was thinking about going to the USFL or UFL. It's like, dude, you know how bad like your reports have to be as an organization for like a kid whose lifelong dream, who just won the Heisman. Like, I don't want to be drafted by your team. Like, it's bad, man. Like it's rough. That's rough. And like for the reports come out and say like they didn't watch film with him at all last year as a rookie, like crazy stuff. Like you're a rookie quarterback and your coach did not watch film with you. Insane to me. I don't know how you have a job at the end of the day if you're still doing that. He's not there anymore. So I think they did the right thing by getting rid of him. But either way, man, like it's just like it's just bad. Just
I
bad
mean,
all
but
the
I
way
guess
around. But
you talked about not watching film. That's why you get stuff like you did at the end of. I don't even remember. Maybe I forgot who they were playing, but end of the game, Caleb Williams. Y'all were in field goal range. Caleb Williams takes a sack. We don't call no timeouts. He takes a
hmm
sack. The game's over
hmm we have a timeout on the clock with
on
like
the
I think
clock.
it's like 13 seconds left.
Y'all have plenty of time. Y'all have
Oh,
plenty of time.
plenty of time. And then they try to line up and throw a Hail Mary on third down. It's like, dude, you're at the 30-yard line. Do you trust your kick to win the game? Like, it's
To
not like
win
we're
the
down
game.
4 points.
No,
We're down like one or
no,
two.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, dude, yeah. That's where it comes back down to, dude. Again, like just bad. I think he got fired after that week.
yeah, yeah,
He got let go.
yeah. But you talk about Ben Johnson too, though. It's like Ben Johnson coming from that Dan Campbell system. Dan Campbell before he went and got Jamison Williams, before he got Amon Ra, before he got these pretty Jameer Gibbs, these pretty pieces, he was building that offensive line. When he went and got Penei Sewell, like he went and got dogs, like real real offensive linemen, and we're seeing like I think well I talk about this draft class being so deep is going to help raise the overall level of the NFL. But like I think we've seen in the past few years, the offensive line play has not been good around the NFL, and it's been those teams with the good offensive linemen who have been competing year in and year out. When you go, except for the Chiefs, they got damn Patrick Mahomes shit.
I swear they're doing witchcraft over there, man.
They got to do Andy Reid and yeah, and I don't know what the hell Andy Reid and them got going on, man. But it's just you're back in the same situation. You don't have any support for your quarterback, and like you have athletes on the outside. But when I say support, I mean that those five guys that are lining up in front of him each and every play that are protecting him. Yeah, they're just not. I don't think the offensive line is good enough. You had the same situation with Justin Fields.
But yeah, let's go back to that. Sorry, that's where the main point was supposed to come. I'm glad that Ryan Poles, who's the Bears GM now, he's doing a lot of good stuff in terms of getting pieces offensively, and even now defensively, they're getting they're stacking the D line and whatnot. But you didn't do that for Justin Fields at all.
Mm-mm.
There was nothing, no weapons that were tried to give to him. There was no receivers. Now, granted, they got DJ Moore, which was a halfway through the season trade
Yeah,
with the
literally.
Panthers, and literally by the end of the year, Justin Fields was gone. So you got to play with him for what, 10 weeks? And you saw the production that they had together. It was
That they
great.
had, yeah.
Against Washington, DJ Moore had 3 touchdowns against Washington, I believe in like the 2022 season, whatever it was. But it's like outside of that, what else did we do to try to help Justin out? Nothing. But now, granted, I hate it for him. They're trying to do the right thing now with Caleb. Sure, like we got the right head coach in there. At least I feel like we did. More offensive minded head coach. Last year they went and got Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift. They drafted Rome Odunze. They have Cole Kmet still. Like you're starting to really forge together a pretty good offensive team there. Now we just needed to mesh together and go compete at a high level. I think once we get there, we'll be good.
I feel bad for Justin Fields because the Bears organization failed him, and now, like, he's on his third team in 3 years. He is too good and like he's too talented. Like, can we find a quarterback coach that's really going to work with him? Like, what does Caleb Williams do that Justin Fields doesn't?
I think wow, that's so tough because once again, it's two different situations. Like, I think Caleb is a bit more. Justin Fields is a better scrambler, like true scrambler. Okay. Let's break it down like this. You watch the Cam Newton podcast at all?
Yeah,
Okay, so he had a clip that I saw on TikTok. I think it was last week or earlier this week. He was talking about the three different kind of styles of quarterback, right? You have your true pocket passer, you have your scrambler, but then there's the in between who's like the escape artist, right? You're not necessarily the most mobile. You're not going to go break three tackles, go get a first
yeah,
down every play, like a Lamar Jackson type, Michael Vick type. But the guys like Russell Wilson, who've kind of fallen that in between of being like a really good elusive quarterback. Now, granted, he can go get you, your 6, 7 yards first down, whatever
yeah.
you need, right? I think Caleb is more falls
Fits
into the
that. Yeah,
escape artist,
yeah.
and where Justin is a little bit more of the true scrambler. So, I mean, from a run game standpoint, the Bears led the NFL in rushing that year because Justin
Hell,
Fields threw for
he was your leading
2,000.
fucking rusher, wasn't he?
That's what I'm saying. He led the Bears 2,000 plus yards passing, but he also had like 1,200 yards rushing. The running back had like 800. He didn't even reach 1,000. So it's like we're all the offensive production is going through Justin Fields. I think now they're trying to spread it out more, which is good because now you have once again you have different weapons. You're spreading the ball out more. You leave this one guy uncovered, or you leave this guy double teamed to leave this guy uncovered. Like now you're getting to some pretty nasty stuff schematic.
But I guess when I ask that question, I don't think there isn't a throw on the field Justin Fields can't make.
Yeah, agreed. Especially now, like early in his career, sort of maybe struggled with some stuff, but I think now he's been in the league for 6 years. He should be able to
I
make every throw.
I think even now his footwork could still get a little better in the pocket. But I think those are little. Maybe it could just simply come down to paying a quarterback and who you felt like putting your money into. But if I'm starting a team, I'm going to go with Justin Fields over Caleb Williams because I feel like Caleb Williams. You say that escape artist, yes, but I feel like he puts himself in a lot of those positions because he's looking for the big play because he's going to sit in the pocket for 3-4 seconds and then it's like, all right, bro, I can't even block for you no more. Like you got to like you got to go do it for yourself. And so, granted, Justin Fields has even you go back to when he was at Georgia. I think part of the problem why he ended up losing that job to Jake Fromm, he's never been able to play on time and on rhythm, and that's big in the NFL. But like Lamar Jackson, you take the good with the bad, I think, and I think you get more good than bad from Justin Fields, but I don't think you get more good than bad from Caleb Williams. I mean, but it also is development, and he's older, he's been in the league longer, so I guess I don't
And
know.
I think a lot of young guys, rookies especially, I mean they're used to if they especially had a good O line, right? Like at USC, Caleb had a pretty dang good O line, right? Which helped him win the Heisman, right? But now you're in the league, Bears O line historically over the last few seasons hasn't been phenomenal. So, he's still kind of in that internal clock in his head of quarterback play, like, okay, I might have 3.5 seconds, 3 seconds. In the league, dude, like we're saying, I mean, it's maybe 2.5 at the top, which is, 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds might not seem like a lot, but every
It
play,
is, yeah.
it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. You have to see the defense, diagnose the defense pre-snap sooner. They're going to do more disguise coverage. They're going to be giving you different looks from different fronts. Now you're going to have to post snap. Okay, I know where my read is 1, 2 to 3. Okay, they do this. That safety rotates. It's actually going to kick off over here. Now I'm reading 1, 2, 3 over here. If you don't see that, it's a
Mm.
pit like
It's a
crazy
yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah.
And it all happens
Happens
every play
that
like
fast.
that, and you
But
have to process it.
people don't fully understand that. Like, you know what, Brandon? If you want to do like, I think we could get on here and just really talk about like real breakdowns of like really breaking down the game. Like if it could be maybe one, we could go through a game or just a couple of plays. Like I think we could really break down the game, because I don't think people really understand what all goes into one play of football. The 4 seconds, those 4 seconds, people don't understand how much thought and how much preparation goes into 4 seconds.
I no, I 100% agree. It, you hear that term 4 to 6 A to B. They don't really understand what that means, or if you've never heard it, it's 4 to 6 seconds. The average football play is 4 to 6 seconds, and they're telling you to get from point A to point B as fast as
As
possible.
fast as
And
possible.
you don't do that once. You don't do it, one play. You don't do it for one drive. You do it for, I think NFL. I think each team offensively now in the league is getting 60 to 65 plays. So
And that's in the
if you're a
NFL.
starter, that's the NFL. College, you can get up to like 80, 90 in some games, especially like a high tempo offense.
Yeah,
West Coast especially, like, dude, what? I mean, they're rolling.
yeah. But you start, but then it's this is why I tell people defense is difficult as a whole. Defense is more difficult than offense, I would say, because you don't know on either side. You don't know what you're expecting, but on the defensive side, your job is to stop the other team, and you don't know what's coming. Okay, but the most difficult position on the field to play is quarterback. I won't, and I've gotten into this with people. I don't, not just in football. I think the most difficult position in sports, because you're not going to find a sport where your processing has to be like that. Your process, you cannot be. Also, why I tell people, like, it's hard to be dumb and be a good football player. Like, it's hard to be dumb and be a good football player.
Very true.
But your processing has to be quick, because whether you're getting your formation, you're getting signals from the sideline, you're getting it called into your headset, or someone's bringing it into the huddle. Okay, I have to know on just my side of the ball what all 11 players are doing. Okay, then in the time that I'm walking up to the line of scrimmage, I'm going safeties, corners, linebackers deep, then the front seven. Like, I need to know, okay, if this happens, this safety could roll here, and okay, I can't go there. But it's because once the play starts happening, there's no thinking; it's just reacting.
All reaction. Yep.
And that's something else that I try to get people to understand is one of the questions that annoy me the most that I hear from reporters or people in the media is, what were you thinking during that play? Not a damn thing. I've done this. Go ahead.
I was about to say, like, you don't think, like, once the play, like, exactly like you said, once the ball snap play starts, you don't think, you do, like, and that all comes back to, like, you st I heard a term, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the lowest level of your training.
What?
Yeah, that's actually Jack Harlow in that basketball movie he did, like, last year or 2 years ago. But it's very
Really?
true, man. Like, I mean, if you're out there bull jiving all summer, you only hit the field once, twice, whatever it is. Come game one, you're done for, man. Especially at the highest level you can go, college. Whether it be high school, college, or pro. It's going to be different. Like, go back to the stack and days thing. You do it consistently, you're going to get there. If you don't do it consistently, it's going to be a long season. But yeah, man. Like, being able to, I literally, like you said, break the huddle. You're getting up to the line. You have to know everybody's assignment. You have to know the adjustment off of what the defense is giving you pre-snap look. You have to understand, like, they might be disguising it. Front seven, what's my front, all that kind of stuff, man. It's crazy. And I think, especially if you're comparing sport to sport, the hardest position. I mean, I can't think of too many that would compete with quarterback, because I'm trying to think from a if you mess up from a quarterback standpoint, if you make a mistake, that's more detrimental, or a bigger mess up than what it be if you turn over the ball as a basketball player, than what it would be if you turn over the ball as a football player.
Yeah.
Or in soccer, even, like, if I kick it to the other team, well, guess what? I'm going to get the ball back 15 more times in the next 10 minutes alone. Basketball, same thing. In football, you might not see the ball again for the rest of the quarter.
You might not want to run. Hey, look, and don't let it be like what they call that middle eight, and you turn the ball over in that middle eight, and you might not see you got the ball at the start of the second quarter. You might not see it to the end of the third,
Hmm.
and that team they done put up 14 points, and you ain't even touched the ball one time.
Not a single time.
And all that starts with it, but that's the little things of winning and losing football games that people don't think about, and it's like it's repetition. If people like perfection is not it's not doing it until you get it right. It's doing it until you can't get it wrong. And it's like, okay, I've ran this comeback. I've ran this comeback 100 times. Okay, but on the 101st time, I took it to 13 instead of 12. I was supposed to go 12 back to 10, but I went 13 back to 11. And it's like, no, that 1 yard don't seem like too much, but it is. You were supposed to plan on your seventh outside foot. That seventh step on that outside foot, that's when you were supposed to cut. You went 6 or you went 8. You done mess up the whole play. And football is also one of those sports, bro. If all 11 people aren't on the same page, it's not working. And yeah, it's just not gonna work, man. And